People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor. I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. 7 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock on the, that clock's wrong, 13th day of January in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and it's live radio time here on The Truth, 99.3, as we continue to give you the best coverage in the middle of the afternoon of news that's going on in our area and nationally that has something to do with you. Caucus stuff. Is anybody else pathetically tired of political and caucus talk? I just can't. You are, Frank?
Can I say for me, I don't like the caucus system. I would just as soon go in and vote for somebody as opposed to going in and debating and arguing and listen to people speak and speeches to try to tell me and convince me who to vote for. I want to go in and vote. I want a primary instead of a caucus. I want the Iowa primary.
I see. You just don't like the style in which we do. I gotcha. I thought you meant the whole primary system.
No. I just don't like the caucus format.
Gotcha. I've never been to one, Mac.
Oh, you should go.
This is the second time it's even been available to me to go. I just moved here the first time and definitely didn't want to go then just because I was flat out not that equipped, to be honest with you. I feel like I could probably this time more than I could before, but I don't think that I could stand up and give a strong opinion anyway. I think I would just have to go. Don't you just go stand in a corner or something? Are you ready? How is that?
No, I
never remember how this works.
You go to your precinct, your caucus, and different people are designated. Candidates can't go.
Captains, right?
Yeah. You have different people who are designated to get up and give a short, brief speech. They are timed. I don't know how long they are. I think maybe 3 minutes.
Okay.
On why you should vote for that candidate.
Right.
When all those speeches are done, then the votes are had, and that precinct turns in, or that caucus turns in their votes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then just like a primary, you add up all the polling places. Think of caucuses as polling, only you have to hear a speech first. You still walk in and vote, but you're going to spend the first hour or so hearing speeches. And there's crosstalk. And what I mean by that is if I don't like your candidate, I'm able to not shout you down by any means, but I'm able to raise my hand and ask you questions.
And you just write your candidate on a scrap piece of paper they hand you.
Yeah.
With probably a pencil. And then these votes are supposedly counted. If you want to stay and watch them counted, I guess you can be, but
the Democrats and Republicans do it a little different, don't they, Mac?
Is it the Democrats then that you actually go and you're in a big room and then you actually go? Because someone had told me about this idea where you're in like a large
gym.
You
have different groups.
Yeah.
For your candidate.
Right.
And then if they don't have enough people, then they tell them to move to another candidate. It's a little different. The Democrats do a little different than Republicans.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm more on Frank's side than I am on a caucus side. You got to be an election geek to really get into the caucuses. Okay, it's no fun if all you want to do is go raise your hand, or as Frank said, write it on a piece of paper and give it to you.
Do you think? Let me ask you a question here. Do you think then that the caucus system, the way that the caucusing is done, do you think it deters people in the state of Iowa from actually going and casting their vote?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's too bad considering, quote, we're the first, I mean, not quote, we are the first in the nation and people are definitely paying attention to what Iowa decides. If a lot of people just want to not go because they don't want to put up with that stuff.
The weather, for a lot of older people, don't want to mess with January weather.
Right.
2, you got to go and you got to sit and you got to listen for a little bit. People don't want to do that.
And you can't skip the speech part.
I don't think so. I don't think they'll allow you to go in and write your vote and say, I'm out of here.
No.
I don't want to sit and listen. I think you have to listen.
No. You could come in an hour later.
Right, you could do that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
but
you could miss the speeches and then come in, but if you mistime that, you're not voting.
But what if you walk in
true.
as soon as it starts and say, I want to vote because I'm going to leave?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
No.
I think that's the whole purpose of this retail politicking. I have a guy that I know who just moved here from Florida, and this whole thing just fascinates him.
Yeah.
Because, primary, just go vote.
Right.
And, his deal is he's amazed at how accessible these candidates are. Because once they leave Iowa, the heads are back in the sand. I mean, it's just all narrative from that point on.
Yeah.
Even New Hampshire. And by the time they get into Florida, it's just narrative. It's just commercials. There are some candidates that never step foot in some of the states where the primaries are.
Kind of like Hillary doesn't like coming to Iowa.
Right.
Huh?
And the presence there, their presence is simply on TV and radio and newspaper.
Yeah. Well, that was my experience. In Texas, it's more that way. It's a big deal if a candidate comes to Texas. It was a really big deal. I remember that.
Well, that's why they have the electoral vote system, so that everybody's got some dog in the fight. If it wasn't for the electoral system, the candidates would normally just go to the big populous areas, do their campaign speeches. South Dakota, places like that, people wouldn't even fly in and step on the ground and talk. So the fact that, and everybody gets a minimum of 3 electoral votes, no matter who, how big your state is, it's a minimum of 3. And D.C., which is not a statehood, gets 3.
I think, I agree with your friend from Florida. I think being a new resident of the state of Iowa, it's kind of cool to me. It's interesting to me. It gives me time to really think about it. Because to be honest, we're all busy doing work, living our lives, doing stuff. And to think about, especially right now when you look at all the different people running for a Republican nomination, there's not huge, giant gaps of differences between these people. And you've got to kind of go with what you think is best. And it takes time to make that decision, I think.
Yeah, well, I think the good thing about the state of Iowa is we vet the people, because you see Iowa on the news all the time.
Yeah.
And so everybody has a chance to get to know them through what we do here.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a very accessible state. Unlike it's easy to travel. It's accessible. Like if you went to Pennsylvania, you'd have to traverse all those mountainous communities, whatever. In Iowa, you can get through the state and get all 99 counties, and it's the best place to have retail politics. But Hillary thought she was going to come in and win. Of course, when Obama beat her, she gave the state a backhanded slap in 2008, saying we weren't diverse enough.
Yeah, and she left a lot of bills on
and left a lot of catering bills.
Yeah, and that's not narrative. That's true.
Wow.
I mean, I know some of the people that she stiffed. And she, what are you going to tell the First Lady of the United States running for president that it's cash in advance? But right. I tell you what, there's a lot of campaigns in this town that are paying cash in advance.
That's an honorable thing to do so that the people don't have to worry about it, That's nice. I think that's real nice.
All right, so anyway, I started that whole thing. I'm sorry. We're just less than a month away from the caucuses, and you probably really should go.
Yeah, no, I think
I don't think you'll enjoy it. I think the next day you'll come to me and say, you people are crazy. You know who started the caucuses? Was Jimmy Carter.
I've heard that.
1976.
Because it was his idea to kind of do the retail politics type thing and that whole style.
Yeah,
up
to that point, nobody had done anything like that.
That's pretty cool.
Now, there are some that will tell you we've been caucusing since, Ike Eisenhower ran in 52, I think it was. 52, 56, 50. Yeah, and then Kennedy ran and won in 60.
Yeah.
And see, it was television. It was the first televised debates. Nixon was a shoo-in. Kennedy was rich, and he was Catholic. And they were just sure the Pope was going to run the country. And then they got him on TV, and Nixon didn't do so well on TV. And you know what JFK looked like. He was a handsome man, and he had that Boston accent like a parked the car.
Well, he was taking some back medication that gave him a natural tan. And Nixon was sweating profusely, and Kennedy just looked and it was black and white TV. But a caucus somewhat resembles what happens in a convention with the superdelegates. That's if a convention was to be brokered to where, somebody didn't get the right amount of votes, so they was arguing back and forth who the superdelegates were going to go with, that would be like a form of a caucus. You'd have to sit and listen to people's arguments and maybe switch your vote to that particular candidate if somebody made a more compelling argument.
It's interesting stuff, I'll tell you. I think it's fun for a newbie. I mean, if you're around it all the time, I guess it gets old.
Aren't you tired of it yet?
I know it's going to come to an end. So I guess no. It's still interesting to me. But again, I'm new. It's kind of like the winter. It's kind of like snow. I think it's cool. You know, I'm that guy. So I think the winter's cool. I think all the politicking is cool. It's just fun. Partially because it's new to me. I think it's really interesting.
How old's Kate?
7.
It might be good to take her too. I don't know. Does she care about that stuff?
Nah, she doesn't care.
She doesn't care.
When she's 8, her name will rhyme.
That's right.
Kate and 8.
That's right. She'll be her own poem.
Do you see what I put up with?
Yeah.
He's a poet.
And don't know it.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, community calendar. Yesterday, we talked about what Kathleen Parker said on CNN, saying that she thought it was absurd that Ted Cruz thought Jesus should rise from the grave and resurrect himself because he said he wants the body of Christ to rise up and support him. Well, I've got the audio cut because I want you to hear it. It's interesting because we talked about this yesterday, and today's the day it's making the news. But we didn't have the audio cut yesterday, so Ryan's got it, and we'll play that for you when we come back. Also, a mistrial in that horrible death of that young child in Clive. You'll never believe what caused the mistrial. It's democracy at its best. Here live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Minutes after the hour. Welcome back. This is Max World Live. I'm J. Michael McCoy, if I haven't told you lately. Thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. The cast of characters in-house today. Chris Roloff, about ready to do the community calendar. Ryan is producing. Frank the Verse Thomas and Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat and the Service Legends Truth text line. Let me give you that new number. If you're brand new to the radio station, we just got the text line Monday. And thank you to Brian Leach and his great company for sponsoring that. The Service Legends Truth text line is 809-0993. The frequency, like 99.3, it's a radio thing. The 809, I don't know. Ryan was too lazy to get me a good first three. See, he should have got 993. That'd be the number. Because what's 809?
Easy to remember. I think it's
easy. Is?
I think 809-0993 is easy to remember. I don't know why. It is for me.
All right.
So anyway, that's a text number, 809-0993.
Yeah, and you can just text us, and Bob's watching the text, and you can send us whatever you want. Also, the phone lines are open at 244-0077. Now, for the first time in the history of Max World Live, it's the community calendar starring Chris Roloff with music underneath.
The big intro with the music, that was fantastic, and now we go.
Hey, baby. CR here, the big Chris.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you what's going on in the community.
The cool tones.
It is funny. It makes you want to read it differently. Okay, well, anyway, this Saturday we've got two things coming up that I want you to be aware of. This Saturday we've got the Midwest March for Life. Everyone will gather at 11 a.m. on the west steps of the state capitol. Following that at 12:30, that's at noon 30 at the Iowa Event Center, there will be a speech by Melissa Oden. Mac has interviewed her before. She is a botched abortion survivor. You can find all the details about the Midwest March for Life online at iowartl.org. Of course, this weekend as well is the Inspire 2016 Conference and Health Fair. And we will have David Bush in studio on Friday to tell us a lot of details about that this Friday. But you can find out everything you want to know by going online to inspirehealth16.com. And again, the Inspire 2016 Conference and Health Fair is this Saturday. It's at First Federated Church. Winter Jam, the Christian music concert, is Friday, January 22nd at the Wells Fargo Arena. You can get details online at 2016.jamtour.com. If you like your rock and roll and you like it worshiping Jesus, that's a great event to go to. I've been before. It's fun. Also, Steve Dace, his new book is called A Nefarious Plot, and he is going to have a pre-release party for that book on Saturday, January 23rd at Harvest Bible Chapel in Grimes. They worship at the Gortz House in Grimes, so you know where that is. Details are on our Facebook page. You can also go to anefariousplot.eventbrite.com for details. There will be an adoption support group on Sunday, January 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Walnut Creek Community Church. Details are online at beautyamidsttheashes.com. Also, want to let you know about the Believers and Civic Involvement Conference. This is a conference for all of us that are Christians that want to know how we can be involved in the civic affairs. This is going to feature the keynote speaker, Dr. Russell Moore. He is the president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. This session is open to everyone, and it is Tuesday, January 26th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at First Family Church in Ankeny. Also, we've talked about this a bunch. What do you expect? What Did You Expect Marriage Conference featuring Paul Tripp live and in person here in Des Moines. That is January 29th and 30th at Grace Church in Des Moines. Details are online at gracehome.com. Last but not least, definitely want to make you aware of this. In February, it's the Homeschool Iowa Night at the Iowa Energy. There'll be a game between Vision and the Des Moines Warriors varsity homeschool basketball teams. That's on Tuesday, February 23rd from 4 to 10. Tickets are $9.93. That ticket will get you into the homeschool basketball game and into the Iowa Energy basketball game as well. Listen to 99.3 coming up for more details, or check out our Facebook page. Hey, do you have an event you want to let our listeners know about? Please do that by calling the station office at 515-251-2663. That's 515-251-2663. Ron will take your information and we'll get your event added to the community calendar. Or if you've got questions about any of the events I just announced, you can call that number as well. And Mac, let me tell you, you look excited.
I just can't figure that music out. I can't figure out whether that's either the perfect music,
right,
or it's lame beyond lame.
It's one or the other.
It's good music for something. I'm just not. I guess we'll get used to it, won't we? It's like the Macarena. Eventually, we'll just get used to it.
It's nice. It's pleasant. It's pleasant. It's how I like my jazz. I like my jazz like I like my cheese, nice and smooth.
I feel like at any moment Frank Sinatra's going to walk in and start singing, New York, New York or something. I had it my way, or did it my way, or I want it my way, or whatever that was. All right. Well, that's the community calendar, and as Chris said, if you want anything on the community calendar, are you going to record that so they can hear that other parts of the day, or is this the only time they get the community calendar?
At this point, this is it. That was it, man.
Wow. That took 6 minutes. 4? Well, how did we get to 3:27 then? We came back at 3:21. Okay. Well, I'm excited to have the community calendar as a part of Mac's World. Can we, what I'd really like to see, though, during the show? Can we get school lunch menus? I think that'd be great. Chef Betty Crocker, and we could rate them by spoons. The top would be a 5-spoon and the bottom... and maybe, here, I've got a good idea. How about lost dog report? Could folks call in when they have the lost, or if they found a dog, we could call in?
Sure.
Just as long as they don't do small town obituaries.
I could do that. I've done those.
You told me.
Yeah, we did those on, believe it or not, the #1 station in Lincoln, Nebraska. The
Coil.
No, that's Omaha. This was KFOR radio, and we would do obituaries at like 8:50 in the morning. And you talk about cheesy music in the back of that. Oh my gosh.
So is that meaning that you're not going to use that music again?
I don't know. Did you like it?
Well, it was nice. It definitely didn't make me. Yesterday, no, not yesterday. The day before yesterday, we had like the breaking news music behind it on Monday. Man, I read that sucker fast, and it was just like wrong. It was just wrong because people react. I read based on the music, so it
sounds
didn't make
like something Harry Connick Jr. would play.
Yes,
I'm just saying we have negative comments on chat, so I just want you to know.
Negative comments about what?
On the music.
Tell me what they say. This is the Service Legends Truth text line.
Yeah,
I want 809-0993.
Well, this is actually a chat, but...
This is the chat. All right, this is the Service Legends True chat line at webcast1live.com.
Bill says that music is getting to my head. Oli says, wake me up when it's over. And Bob says, I don't like it either.
And Bill says he'll find you a song.
So I'm curious though. Do you guys appreciate the calendar? Do our listeners?
Calendar.
I think the calendar's nice.
Fine. It's
You're
just
not
the music
anywhere else.
The music is distracting.
Maybe we should have like the last famous guy that died music. So we'd have David Bowie music.
We need
change. I never liked David Bowie. Anyway.
What? Oh, don't get me started on David Bowie. Let's dance.
Freak.
Oh, man.
All right, I have in front of me the top 10 lies.
Oh, my goodness.
Told in the State of the Union address by Pinocchio himself, Barack Obama. We'll get to that later. Now, you've got an interesting piece of gossip here. And that is that Rand Paul has backed out of the.
No. The gossip, and maybe it's just gossip that the Rand Paul people. I know a lot of Rand Paul supporters, okay, and so maybe they're trying to stir this up on their own. But I do find it fascinating that the GOP. One of the things that's not on my list, I guess it should be. Nobody submitted it. That's why it's not on the list. January 28th is the Republican National Convention's debate, their final debate, actually right here in Des Moines. And of course, the top three people right now in the race for the Republican Party, of course, Trump, Cruz, and Rubio are the big three. Number 4 is Carson, and number 5 is Rand Paul. But what's fascinating about that is those 5 would be a beautiful panel for the debate, right? And from what the Rand Paul people are hearing, Rand is not going to be on the list. They're going to skip.
It's not by his choice.
No, not at all. He is actually very upset. This Des Moines Register poll has him at 5%. Jeb Bush is at 4%. Chris Christie and Huckabee are tied at 3%. Kasich and Carly Fiorina are at 2%, and Rick Santorum has 1%. Rand Paul is at number 5 on the list, and he's not, as far as we know, not going to be in the debate. And that's crazy when they were probably going to put Jeb Bush on the debate. He's going to be on the main stage. So Rand Paul people are upset about that. And I think rightly so. I'd love to hear more from Rand Paul. We're really not hearing much about him. And the other thing that was fascinating, when I was looking this up on the Des Moines Register, they actually had a video announcing the new polling data. And they mentioned every Republican candidate except Rand Paul in that video. They didn't even mention him.
Really?
His name was not in the video. And that's kind of crazy. Now, Rand Paul folks love the conspiracy theory that the Republican Party is out to get him. But, I said earlier, and this is just my opinion, I said earlier that amongst all the Republicans, there's not much difference. Rand Paul's kind of different. The Liberty Party's kind of, he's being kind of a libertarian. He stands out.
But
he's
walked back some controversial things about aid. He's always been one jerking aid from Israel. He's accepted aid for Israel now, and he's a little softer on the war stance since we've had the shootings and such. So he's backtracked on a few things.
Well, I want to know if we have Rand Paul supporters that listen.
Where's
call
Marco
in.
Rubio in that?
He third, I believe. He hits number 3. I believe
so
he is third place.
Trump, Cruz, Markio, Carson, and then Rand Paul.
Yeah, and that'd be a great panel. Those 5 guys. Those are the top 5 people right now.
From my experience, the last 5 years with talk radio. And this goes back a while. Now listen, this is serious.
He's a pro. He's a pro, man.
No, I'm talking before this. When the caucus time.
My name is Dr. Frankenstein.
When the caucuses roll around, the Ron and Rand Paul supporters hit the airways. You don't hear them the other 11 months out of the year, but just prior to the caucuses, they hit the airways. I haven't heard them. I haven't heard them on any channel. So I don't think Rand has the rabid support that his dad had.
Well, and I think Rand Paul supporters are going for Trump.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Why would that doesn't? I don't.
Libertarian Party. We want change. We want change now. We want less government. We want to be back in control.
I think somebody who loves liberty though wants less government, and I think. Look, I'm not. This is not against Trump. I'm just saying I would imagine Trump is going to want more big.
You can't. You talk bad about Trump and the phone's live.
I second what
our listeners love Donald Trump.
I second what Max says that I think he's a better alternative to the Paul supporters than the others.
You think if you're a Paul guy that Trump's your
I think I think he's more palatable to their taste buds than the other ones.
Yeah, I would agree.
The thing I like about Paul or Rand Paul is that he's domestic. He cares a lot about defending the United States, not being involved in a lot
Same thing Trump is saying. He's saying fix our bridges, fix our infrastructures. What are we doing in these wars? Let Putin do it. The Paul guys are eating that up.
That's interesting.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist didn't understand something Ted Cruz said, so she mocked him. I'm waiting for the apology. We're coming back live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
All right, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News at the top, and then it's us again. And I've got a very nice gentleman coming in today. His name is Pastor Philip, and he is planting a church in the Highland Park area. And I'm fascinated by church plants. I don't believe in reincarnation. I just don't think there's anything biblical
right
that talks about that. But I think if it's possible, is that heresy for me to say?
Should I just shut up? Well, if you're making a fun point, sure.
Well, I think I was a pilgrim.
Oh, sure.
And I think I was a Christian pastor. Because the idea of going into nowhere where no one else is and planting a church just somehow just feeds me that way. And I always picture myself like, a pilgrim and inviting people into a church.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of cool ways to get involved in church planning in this life, as it were. I mean, you've got plenty of time to be involved in church planning. You don't have to be the pastor to be involved in church planning. I'm sure within the ELCA, within the Lutheran denomination, there's people planning churches, and you can support them and.
Well, you know how I've been involved in church planning. Here's how God's used me. I'm a real estate geek.
Yeah.
I like real estate. And I buy it, sell it all the time. It's like a commodity to me. I've helped 4 or 5 churches, 4 churches in 5 different locations. Because one church we had 2 different locations for them. I love doing that for churches, and I don't charge. I don't do it as a commission thing.
It's a cool thing. And we don't have the audio or play it, but if you've seen this, it's floating around. I don't know why it made me think of this. Floating around Facebook right now. Steve Harvey, no, not saying something wrong, but Steve Harvey giving this sort of mini sermon after the end of Family Feud. Did you watch that?
Yeah, about jumping.
About jumping. He talked about, we need to God has given us gifts and talents. Steve Harvey quoted the Bible several times. Didn't mention Jesus when he could have, but he quoted the Bible several times and encouraged people that if you have a gift, God has given you that gift and he wants you to use it. And I think it was a really encouraging message that he gave to everybody after the Family Feud. So, I mean, here it is, a perfect example. Is what made me think of it. Mac, you're doing that. You have been given by God a gifting, an understanding, a passion, a knowledge of sort of the retail world, commercial retail, and that kind of thing.
Well, I met with somebody today. I met with a pastor today. We went to and I'm not going to give you the details, but this pastor's got a really cool idea of where to put a church.
Yeah.
And it's within another community. And well, no, I don't want to say anything yet. But I really like that.
Yeah.
Because that is using something God gave me, and I used it secularly, and now I get to use it for the kingdom.
I think that's really cool. I encourage our listener to just go ahead and do that. Wherever God's calling you, to go for it, man.
All
Take
right, 19 minutes before the top of the hour, sunshine and 44 today.
That's crazy.
48 tomorrow. And by late Thursday night and Friday morning, we're supposed to be back in the poop. All right, Ryan, super producer, would you please play the cut where award-winning, Pulitzer Prize-winning Kathleen Parker is talking about how when Ted Cruz said that he'd like, and I'm quoting now, it's time for the body of Christ to rise up and support him. Makes sense from Ted Cruz, right? Makes sense. This is what Kathleen Parker, a professional, formerly a professional journalist and Pulitzer Prize winner, said on CNN. Roll tape.
I don't think there's any chance Ted Cruz can win a general, and here's why. One observation, I don't know, this seems to have slipped through the cracks a little bit, but Ted Cruz said something that I found rather astonishing. He said, it's time for the body of Christ to rise up and support me. I don't know anyone who takes their religion seriously who would think that Jesus should rise from the grave and resurrect himself to serve Ted Cruz. I know so many people who are offended by that comment. And, if you want to talk about grandiosity and messianic self-imagery, I think he makes, Ted Cruz makes Donald Trump look rather sort of like a gentle little lamb.
Kathleen, do you think Donald Trump can win a general?
Well, I don't think he should, but I think he has a better chance in a general election because he's not so far right as Ted Cruz. You see that his support comes from people who are very conservative, the evangelical community, many of whom may not, may disagree with what I've just said.
Ryan,
and they see it.
That's good. That's good. I should have stopped you before that. And the thing that's interesting about that is Sam Clovis is sitting on that panel.
That whole time.
And I love Sam, and I don't want to hurt my friendship with him, but I'm disappointed in that. He knew what that meant. And I think he had an obligation as a Christ follower, more than a Trump supporter, to step up and say that. I mean, 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago, when I hadn't been mugged by Jesus yet and I didn't have a relationship with him, I knew what the body of Christ was.
And just because I mentioned this yesterday, there were some people pontificating in here, 30 plus. Kathleen was born in 1951.
Oh, my gosh.
So she's close to 65 years old, and she doesn't know what the body of Christ is.
Boy, I missed that because I thought she was 30-something.
Wow.
That makeup, that's good. That camera helps.
That's good makeup. Well, there's a couple of things I noticed about her comment, and if you want to weigh in, of course, I invite you to do that. The number is 515-244-0077. That's 515-244-0077. That's to voice call in, and we've got the new Service Legends Truth text line, which is 809-0993. Text your comments. Bob will check them at 809-0993. That's a text line, Service Legends Truth text line. But, the things that I found to be interesting about what she said were twofold. One, the amount of ignorance that goes into saying what she said, that the body of Christ was that Ted Cruz was meaning the physical body of Christ. I think that's an incredible amount of ignorance. Craig Robinson was in yesterday, and he said, I don't know if he said this on mic or he said this afterwards, that it may not have been ignorance. It may have actually been intentional that this woman wanted to be able to say that and to make what Ted Cruz is saying sound much worse than what it actually is, because unfortunately there are a lot of people right now, Frank, that don't know Christian vernacular, and I think that the church needs to wake up and realize that, hey, when we speak as Christians, we need to learn how to speak to people who maybe don't understand that kind of Christianese, the phrase body of Christ. But the other thing I noticed, and this is important too, is that she has missed something that many Christians oftentimes forget. Christ is not dead. Christ is not buried in the ground. Christ's body is not in the ground somewhere. That's the other thing that she missed. Christ doesn't need to rise from the dead because, friends, he already has.
He's risen?
He has risen indeed. You know, Jesus already has been raised from the dead, and that's the other part that she misses, and oftentimes Christians fail to remember the importance of the resurrection as well.
But a 65-year-old woman who's been a journalist a long time and professes to be, at minimum, a conservative, that's intentional, what she said.
Yeah, you know, Chris, I didn't think about that, but I agree with you. I think that was just downright trying to knock him off.
Well, and I think it was Craig that pointed that out, that, you know, several years ago was Sarah Palin. When people said, Sarah Palin said, "Oh, look, I can see Russia from my house," or whatever it is, whatever it was.
She never said that.
She didn't actually say that. It was
Tina Fey
on SNL who said that. You know, here we've got this gal on CNN saying that Ted Cruz believes that that Christ's body should be raised from the dead to support him. That's idiotic.
I think they showed where Sarah Palin grew up. Her dad's house, there was something, and supposedly you can see Russia from their backyard, is what I've heard. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but...
Well, I don't know. That's
all
a
right,
long
we're
way.
going to take our last break of the hour. Coming up next hour, Pastor Philip. He's planting a church in the Highland Park area, and I'm fascinated by church plants, so he's going to share that story with us. When we come back, very briefly, I've got 10 of them. I'll see how many I can get to. But the top 10 lies that President Barack Obama said in the State of the Union address last night. Did you watch it?
I watched some of it, yeah, mostly the
Frank,
end.
did you watch it?
What? No.
I just watched the highlights.
Okay. See, I've got it taped, and I'm going to watch it tonight.
I haven't heard him speak in 8 years.
All right, we are... we're coming back. Now, there's a true Republican. We're coming back live here on The Truth. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. I couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth, 99.3, powered by webcast1live.com.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 10 minutes for the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network news at the top. Then after that, Pastor Philip planning a church in Highland Park, Des Moines. No, that wouldn't be right. Would that be? Yeah, it'd be Highland Park, Des Moines. Because Highland Park is not a community of its own. It's just a neighborhood association. All right. Top 10 lies that Barack Obama told in the State of the Union address.
His name?
Barack Obama.
His name?
Oh, his name.
Is that the first lie?
Number 10, 50 years of isolating Cuba has failed to promote democracy, setting us back in Latin America. That's what he said. And a year of appeasement has not promoted democracy either. The Castros remain firmly in power, and we are not helping the opposition. Even worse, the Cuban regime continues to arrest thousands of political dissidents, to cozy up to the enemies like Iran and North Korea, and to carry out provocative acts such as stealing a U.S. Hellfire missile. Number 9, he said, we are training, arming, and supporting forces who are steadily reclaiming territory in Iraq and Syria. The Obama administration's attempt to train and arm Syrian rebels has been a disaster. The administration has helped Kurdish regime forces, and the Iraq military has made gains lately, but Obama has not made a serious effort to defeat the Islamic State and is even giving up on the regime change in Syria. By the way, this is all from Dana Bash, who was part of the Bush administration. All right, number 8. As someone who begins every day with an intelligence briefing, I know this is a dangerous time. That's what Obama said. Obama does not attend most of the daily intelligence briefings, preferring instead to read intelligence reports, so he claims, on his iPad, a stark contrast to the approach of his predecessor. Number 7, no nation dares to attack us or our allies because they know that's a path to ruin. Of course, while Obama is speaking, there are 10 American Navy men, actually 9 men and 1 woman, being held off the coast of Iran after Iran seized 2 U.S. Navy boats and those 10 sailors. Obama did not even mention those Americans in captivity at any point during his speech. You remember Craig Robinson yesterday? Oh, you weren't on. Yesterday, Craig said, I bet he doesn't even mention them. It doesn't match his narrative. All right. So number 6. 7 years ago, we made the single biggest investment in clean energy in our history. Here are the results. Dana Bash says it's laughable that Obama would claim his failed clean energy spending, like Solandra, remember that mess, led to the fracking-fed energy boom we have enjoyed for the past several years, especially when the administration did all they could to stop oil and gas development. Number 5 lie from President Obama. We've protected an open internet. I even know that's a joke. Obama's policy of net neutrality has turned internet service providers into public utilities under an ancient regulatory regime. The result has been a sharp decline in broadband investment and a much less free and open system. In addition, the Obama administration is rushing to shift control of ICANN, that's the internet, to the international community, which will ensure that the internet is less free and subject to overseas censorship. Number 4, this was good. Food stamp recipients didn't cause the financial crisis. Recklessness on Wall Street did. Dana Bash says actually food stamp recipients, metaphorically speaking, were indirectly responsible, as well as Wall Street sharks. Obama leaves out the government's role under the Community Reinvestment Act in pushing mortgages on people who could not afford them, and in backing the base on these mortgages that ultimately burst the entire bubble.
And who was behind that? Acorn.
All right, now number 3. That's what the Affordable Care Act is all about. It's about filling the gaps in employer-based care so that when we lose a job or go back to school or start that new business, we'll have insurance coverage. That is a cruel joke, given that Obamacare canceled insurance coverage for millions of Americans who never changed jobs, who never went back to school and didn't move. It also raised deductibles and premiums so high that many insurance companies are leaving the Obama exchange totally. Number 2 lie that Obama said. Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction. Dana Bash said, with that line, Obama took a shot at his would-be Democratic successors as well as his Republican critics. But the truth is that despite the slow recovery, the slowest since World War II, labor force participation is at its lowest that it's been in decades. Our unemployment is higher than it's been since 1977. Wages are stagnant, household incomes have not recovered from the recession, and young people see a bleak future.
They don't count the people who have stopped looking for jobs in those numbers.
Correct. That's right. All right. And the number 1 lie, and I'm not sure these are in any chronological order, but I feel like David Letterman when I start at 10 and go to 1. The number 1 lie that Barack Obama said last night in the condition of the state, state of the state, state of the union. We've done all this while cutting our deficits by almost 3/4. This is so pure fiction. Obama has doubled the national debt. And it's not because he cut the deficit. Rather, he spent staggering amounts of money in his first months in office, which he assigns dishonestly to the previous fiscal year under George Bush. He, quote unquote, cut from that spending, but only under protest after Republicans took the House in 2010. Doesn't that just blow you away that the President of the United States can stand before the people in the State of the Union? I mean, good heavens. On the campaign trail, he lies. As president, he's not honest, but then he stands in his last State of the Union address and just bold-faced lies.
And a couple of things where he's supposed to attend these daily briefings. A couple of those scandals, I don't remember which ones precisely they were. They could have been the VA, the IRS scandal, etc. He said he heard it on CNN. So he doesn't even attend those briefings.
All right, we are up against our top of the hour break in which Salem Radio Network News will step in and update us. The stock market took a big hit today. I think it was 370 points or something like that, down about 700 for the week or for the last week or so. And then after that, Pastor Philip is planning a church in Highland Park, Des Moines. That's a subdivision of a neighborhood association in Des Moines. He's here along with Don DeWay, and we're going to talk about planning a church in a community like that. You know, we hear about planting churches all the time in Africa or Utah. I've got some people coming on in 2 weeks that are getting ready to move to Utah, the bed of Mormonism, and they're going to plant a Christian church there. But this is a church in Highland Park, an area that really needs another church. So we'll talk to Pastor Philip and find out how he's going to do that. And we're going to do that next, live, right here. I'm J. Michael McCoy, along with Chris Roloff, Frank the Verse Thomas, Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat watching the chat, and the Service Legends True Text line at 809-0993. Ryan is producing, and the most important person on the show is you. So thanks for listening.